We are here today talking about violence, about violence, and how does it affect our own life as a society? Because really, so many uh, incidents and things that we saw in life in our own society that violence is really taking place, you see. And unfortunately, really, like other societies. Hello, my dear Mr. Adam. Lovely, beautiful evening. We are here today talking about violence. You see, as a societies, really we need to address this issue so that we can have a peaceful we can have a peaceful society that will live in peace and share peace. So especially we find other societies, they already, like, I mean, they are not in a place, or even we can say a dilemma or a corner that now we are in. Hello, dear lovely brother Robinho and Mr. Amir. Thank you too, really, today for being here. And you too, my brother Muhammad Ibrahim. Welcome, Mr. Amir Musa. So today we are talking about violence. And not only violence in general, but even the source of the violence itself. We are talking about the violence in our families, the family violence, the domestic violence. Hello, dear Mr. Asur. Nice to see you here. Today we are talking about violence. Especially now we are in a month of Ramadan, and we know that Ramadan is a holy month. Especially there will be more mercy. So I grab it as a chance that we can share things that will just help people in order to grow more and be tolerant and to have kind of peace in the way that they're dealing with other people. So really the source of violence, where it will start, it will start is like it will start from the families. We see people, they inherit violence, especially with raising children. You will find somebody that will say to you, this is the way that we have been taught. This is the way that we found our own parents doing the same thing. You see? So we need to stop here and think, why should we repeat what other people do? If we knew that we are responsible ourselves about our own life, and we supposed to be different and unique, so why do we repeat what we find from other people? You see? Why do we repeat that? At least we supposed to think differently so that we can have a different life. So from the beginning, now, if you are a parent yourself, from now you have to think, how am I going to raise my own children? Not only to depend on the way that I was raised, I was taught. You see, you can get from there the nicer things, okay, which are already there, but the same time you need to stop this violence. And as I said, this violence, it will start like parenting. For us, it's like kind of exploitation. Somebody will try to take advantage of him or her being a parent. That is not right, because you don't own a child. A child is a soul. You cannot own a human being, because this human being, it has the human being has his or her own mind and her own soul, or his own soul. You see, it's a flesh. You cannot own that flesh. Although you are a parent, but you're supposed to know that this child you will bring in life is really something different. Hello everyone who joined me today here talking about violence. Mr. Muayyad and dear sister Asafi, may God bless you all. And dear Khalil Ismail, nice to have you here, guys. Really, we are here sharing more lights about our own life so that we can make the change that we are looking for in our life. You see, so as I said, a child is something separate, a very innocent soul. So what we need to do is how to take care well about this child. That is why it is our own responsibility to find ways in order to take care of them very well without violence. And that it will happen by addressing their own mentality. I don't need to have always like a stick in order just to hit the child for anything that it will do, like a mistake or a failure. And just like a severe rebuke and punishment. No, innocent child. We know very well that people, they will learn through mistake. So if a child did something wrong, at least we're supposed to direct this child and teach him what is the right, to address the mind. But frightening the child, punishing the child with that violence, this child will grow very weak. At the same time, this child will grow in a violence, and he or she will be a violent person. And that is something we don't want in the society, because later on, when this child will be a dictator or will be somebody who is really very violent, one of those criminal people, or even always hitting his family or hitting others, that is what we don't want in our societies. You see? So that is why we're supposed to address the child, to address the mentality of the child. Always try to have an approach and dialogue with the child. So parents, as I say, they always try to enforce things, even related to our own talent. Okay? Our own, may God bless you too, my dear Khalil. In terms of our own talent, skills, and the desires, the things that we really want to do in our life, they always interfere. If I have a passion in order to be somebody, like to study something in the university, sometimes parents, they will interfere. Or even sometimes they will say, no, don't complete your education. Enough is enough, just here. That is not right. If something that you couldn't do in your own life as a parent, you shouldn't refuse for your own child or your own son or daughter to do that. You see? It is really very important, a very important thing. You just leave that soul in order to grow as a really very good human being that other people, they can benefit. And he or she can be somebody good for the society. Thank you, my dear Alker. You see? Really. So that is what we're supposed to do. And even as I say, this kind of violence also, it appears clearly on the choices, other choices of life, and marriage is one of them. The majority of people always will be under this kind of dictatorship, that you will be told you have to marry this. No, because this is a sacred life. Later on, when you come, you, a man or a woman, and be in this family life, maybe you just accepted that because you don't want your parent to get angry. But at last, when you will be within that union of family there, you will not feel happy because you had no desire in order to do this. Somebody forced you, and you accept it in order to satisfy and please someone else. You see? I miss you too, man. Really, I miss you too. Thank you so much. You see? So that is really very important. No problem, my dear. You can ask so many questions, or even if it is related to the thing that I'm talking about, it's okay. But if it is something private, no problem. You can just message me later. Okay? Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. Really, I miss you too. So we have to do the same thing. You know, we have to do the same thing. We have to do the same thing, like give a chance to the child in order to be who he want, who she want. Because as I said, everybody's unique. And people, they differ on their own potentials, talent and skills, and their own desires and hobbies. So we have to stop that kind of violence. And instead of just dictating and telling and forcing somebody to do this or to do that, at least we supposed to have a dialogue, to discuss. That is the most important thing, that we should have it in our life. And the part of violence that we really hate and see always in our families is that the violence between brothers. Really, that is really something really very bad. You see, you cannot imagine somebody hitting someone else that belong to the same family. And I'm talking here about the violence that happens from a brother against his sister, because she did not wash something for him, or she did not took care of the place where he sleep, or even she did not offer him a cup of tea or a cup of cold water. You see, who are you? You are only a son, belong to the same family. For you being a man, a real man will never use violence against women, because we know that women are really very kind. They are emotional. So, and we men, yeah, okay, we are strong physically, okay, but this does not give us authority in order to go and use this force we have against somebody who is really weak. That is not right. At least we're supposed to have dialogue. And I said even this thing, thank you so much, Mr. Tension 10. Thank you so much, my dear. You see, so here we have to think carefully. Women monthly, they have a changing hormones in their own bloods. So thinking of this, really, it will make you as a man, you're supposed to have kind of consideration. I have to consider. I have to give an excuse that she's being a moody because of this. So I have to give an excuse not to use my own force and get angry. If I got really an angry response because of something that I asked, I shouldn't say, no, she's underestimating me, she does not respecting me. You see, at least we have to think what she's doing, what is happening to her, why she's moody today. And that is especially like something that married men, they have to think about, especially when those when those women in their own pregnancy, so there is also a change. A man here has to think. You see, he's supposed to think that okay, there is something happening. This changing I see on here, it is happening because of something. You should think not only that you will use the violence. You see, that is not right, really. That is not right. It's supposed to be something different. We have to use our minds. You see, and even sometimes people, they will have a justification, a religious justification for the violence they are using. As far as I know, God is something bigger, and He's really very fair. He created, the Almighty created us. Men and women are equal. Although there is a physical differences, and even on our own services, our own performance and the things that we do, but at last, we are equal. We are all creatures. We complete each other. So, it's just only some people that are manipulating, some people that are having mis-explanation for certain verses or even orders and commandment in order to justify their own violence against those women. And that is not something right is supposed to be. You see, for you as a man, God will not give you the chance in order to be in heaven not to be questionable. No, that is wrong. You see, so even if religion gave a man kind of appreciation, is because you are responsible enough in order to take care of your sister, but not to use this authority in order to abuse her. That is not right. That is really wrong. And we're supposed to think of that in order to have a very great family, a peaceful family. One of the violence is that all this violence, as I said, we see it comes through traditions. You see, because there is no law or any regulations that, or as I said, even a religious order and commandment is just giving authority to the man in order just to abuse another human being and a creature. That is came because of traditions. As I said earlier, that we inherit the way we are just raising children. Whatever it will happen, you will find somebody will say, why are you mad about this? Why are you angry about this? This is the way we found our fathers. You are here. Where is your father? Where is your grandfather? Where are they? They already gone. That is their own time. That what was available there. And now you are here. For raising children now, there is methods. There is like books. There is system. How you could take care of your own children. These things, and even there is as I said, plannings, and even there is methods, okay, how you could take care of your own children. Books are there. You should just go and find out. Especially, we are in a time where knowledge is available. Just in about a click, you can get all the information you want in order to get knowledge and try to use it and apply it in your own life. As I said, the way that we used to deal and behave with our own children is that we always use violence. And not only that physical violence, but also the verbal violence, which is called the bullying. You see? How could you say to your own child, you are a failure, you are stupid, you are a donkey, or any bad word you could imagine that you will say to your own child. We say it's only a word, but we don't know really by this word, through the tongue we have, sometimes people, they will reach the higher level. And with this tongue we have, sometimes we degrade somebody to even to the depth of the earth. Sorry. You see? So that is why people always say, watch out your words. Watch out your words. So you don't watch out your words with your own children, and you say anything that it will come from your own mouth. That is not right. As a wise man, you're supposed to think about your own words that and the sentences. Especially, as I said, an innocent child in a process of learning. So somebody in a process of learning is not like will be held responsible about his or her own actions, words and sayings. You see? So that is why we're supposed to take care of our own words. Not only that, even the actions with the kids, because they said children or the kids will not listen to us. They imitate us. They imitate us. You see? They imitate us. And that is, we have to think of that. You know, whatever we are doing, children, they will observe and try to apply that. Try to follow. Because you are the first example, the first role model for your own children. That is why, don't think that you are saying something good to your child and doing something bad, so the child will follow the good you are saying. No, the child will follow the action. As always, people say, action speaks louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. So we have to think of this, and to change the way we are treating children. If they did something wrong, we should have kind of dialogue, a conversation, and tell them what is right and what is wrong, so next time they will not repeat it. But hitting them only, or saying a very bad verbal words, and the rebuke, the severe rebuke, that it will not change the child. Oppositely, it will just make this child a weak child, a child that has a psychological problems, because no any human being will accept humiliation. Human beings, when they were created free, and they have been given a dignity. So by you using that violence, verbal or action violence, physical violence, you are humiliating other soul, other human being, and taking away that dignity, especially if the person is weak. And the child, as I said, is weak. So we need to think of that, and instead of just using the violence, we have to take this way of approach, a dialogue, to communicate, to address issues, you see, so that even the child, him or herself, will have the chance in order to learn a way of solving things without using the power, just only the power of mind. The power of mind. That is why, you know, somewhere in some countries we find we find populations and societies and communities, they easily can communicate and have a dialogue and reach whatever they want. While other societies, they don't have a way to understand each other or even have a dialogue. So in like a very simple differences between each other, one part may hit the other part and lose the point of having a dialogue. And that is the nature or instinct of animals. Because animals, they don't have mind, and they cannot have a dialogue same like human beings will have, because they have mind to think. Whatever, they will fight with each other. And that is what we see. That is how they solve their own problems. Although this is something exceptional, you will find sometimes some animals really, they have that dialogue. Especially like maybe they can move easily from a place where there is a fighting with other animal. Easily. Really. And so many videos I saw about that, and even mostly sometimes people, they will share about Tom and Jerry and how some cats, you see, in a real life, they will have kind of coexistence with other animals, especially we can say like a dog. You see? So that is how we're supposed to think, because somewhere in those developed countries, they have what is called the self-censorship. You see? Self-censorship. This self-censorship is that you, through dialogue, addressing the mentality of a child, the mind, how they're supposed to think, how they're supposed to accept things and to observe themselves without even you being there as a supervisor. That is why I guess in one of those countries, like it's maybe America, I guess America, United States of America, they have this kind of censorship. So they will say, like, if the child, they told the child that you are grounded not to watch a TV. If the child left his own house to another house, one of his family members, and he went there and the children are watching TV, they will ask him or her, why you are not watching TV? The child will say, I'm grounded. Although parents are not there, but he has his own conscience, his own mind or her own mind at the presence. And that is how we supposed to raise children, to address their own mentality, to address their hearts, to address their souls, and have that kind of ability in order to do things without being watched. And I guess this is one of the problems that we always, in some countries, we have corruption. You see, we have corruption. Why? Because people, they are just waiting for someone else to watch them in order to do their best at the work or this thing and achieve it. But they don't have that inner self-censorship. Nobody's observing them. And they cannot observe themselves because they haven't been taught in order to do this. They haven't been taught in order to do this. So we need to teach them. If we are looking for a very democratic society, a society which is peaceful, a society which is tolerant, it will come through this. Teaching children the way of dialogue, addressing their own mind. Not only just only use the force, use the violence, and always frighten them in order to do things. That is not right. That is not right. You see? Yes, it is a tool. I mean, violence is a tool. Frightening is a tool. But with the innocent child, we have to use the other available tools, not only to jump to a conclusion there. And even this violence, there is level for this violence. But how come? I cannot imagine a wise man will hit a 3 years boy or girl, or slap him or her on the face because he did that or she did that. Sorry. You see? So we really need to think of this. Raising children through addressing their own minds. And as I said, I do have really like some talkings, future talkings and lectures in regard of this, in so many different things, especially with children. So, as I said, the child that will be taught through violence will be a very weak person. Futurely, this child cannot handle things in life, and even cannot demand his or her own rights, because he or she haven't been taught about that. You see? So they cannot demand, they cannot question and ask about their own rights. And even if they tried so, they will put in their mind that somebody will hit them. That is why we find in some societies their own rights are missing. And even when somebody will come and give them their own rights, they will be happy. You see? So that is why really we need to think very wisely about this situation in order to have very peaceful democratic societies. Sometimes people, they wonder where this dictator came from who is ruling a country. But such a dictator, he came from this society. He came from your own society. How? He came from a society that is always using violence. So when he or she grow up, will not find any other way in order to say or to ask something except violence. Except violence. So that is something we have to put in our mind always. Okay? And even as I said, violence will create another violence, as people say. And not only that, a person who was raised in a violent way will also be the same. And one of the bad parts really of that violence is that you will find a married man will hit his own wife, the wife that's supposed to be his own soulmate, to be her own soulmate. You see? But he's hitting her, abusing her, degrading her. And at last, he needs that kind of intimacy with her too. Really, that is a fake life. That is a hypocrite life. Even if she's accepting to stay with you, she doesn't accept you in order to hit her always. And not only that, really, but even some men or even women they have a very bad discussion with a louder voice in front of their own children. You see? So the child is listening to this kind of conversation. What is the guilt of child in order to be in this situation? So that he or she will have that weak personality and even have that kind of a psychological problem. He sees his father and mother, they're shouting, or even he will see that his father or her father is just hitting the mother. Or even a brother which will hit a sister in front of her children. That is not right. These are not an action of a sane person, really. You see? This is not. Really, this is insane. Insanity, this one. Craziness. This is not right. You see? Because a right, good human being, as I said, will not do these things. Even if there is something between you or any kind of differences between you and your wife or even your sister, it's supposed to be solved in a dialogue. Give and take. Communicate. But for you, in order only to use violence, this is dictatorship, and we are, as I said, we are questioning. How does this dictator person came here? He came from the way that he sees in his own family or her own family. That is why we're supposed to be careful. You cannot hit a 25 years old woman or a 30 or 35 or 40 because that there is something happened. She's wise enough. She brought children to you and she's raising children. You are going to work and she's there at home helping you just raise these children. And at the same time you hit her in front of her children. So now she has like a very bad image in front of her children. They will not respect her. Or even they will grow and have that in their own minds. And futurely they will try to apply that when they will be in the same chance. So that is why it is our own responsibility in order to teach our own children a way of dialogue, instead of always just like using violence and verbal violence or that physical violence, or what is called the bullying and saying bad words to your own children. That is not right, really. It's not right. And I do remember, especially in this part, that in our societies we have always the problem of discrimination or segregation. How this thing came, you see? How? It came through parents. And I do remember the saying of our great African hero, Nelson Mandela. He used to say, no child will be born a hater or a discriminator or a violent person, but he will be taught that. So that is why people, he said, that is why if children, it is possible that they will be taught violence and discrimination and will be taught hate, they have to be taught love, peace, tolerance, and respect. Earlier I said, children don't listen to us. They imitate us. No matter what good things you say to them, the only thing that it will make sense to them is what you are walking as a talk. That is the only thing. Therefore, really, and as I said, from time to time in our own societies, the region that we live in, we find those wars which is happening between tribes, between religious sects, sectarian violence. How does it come? It doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from the way parents are teaching their own children. This person from this religious sect, no, don't accept. He is infidel, whatever. If you got a chance, kill him. No. We shouldn't say that. You see, we shouldn't teach children in that way. As I said, children are really very innocent. An innocent soul. And they are meant in order to be good human beings, good citizens. But for us, just teaching them that way, you see, really, and even for this kind of discrimination, sometimes when you find somebody who is really discriminating, using kind of discrimination against others, we supposed to be compassionate and to feel sorry for this person, because he or she having been taught in a family what is the human being, what is the value of you being human being. He's poor, a poor person. You see, that is why they say such a people, you need to do kind of charity for them, not the charity of money, but ethics and values, because they are at his own home, he or she having been taught in order to be a good human being, respecting other human being, regardless of the difference of religion, race, tribe, or whatever. You see? And that it will happen from the family. If we really looking for coexistence, a family, a society that live in a solidarity, a very peaceful society, a very democratic society, we suppose to find it at home. It will start at home. Even if we would like to find a man who will respect a woman for who she is, mother and a father have to teach that to their own child at home. Even if we would like to have a woman that respect a man for who he is, a father and a mother have to teach that also for her. That is the base. But it is not a problem even if we are now mature. At least we have to think this way. There is a chance always. Life is unending chance. As long we are alive, we have the chance in order to be better. We have the chance in order to be better. We can do that. You see? And also, one of the bad violence we always have, that is politically, is the violence of the parties. You see, the factions, political factions or parties. How many parties are there? All these parties, they meant to be for building a nation. They meant to be for making this country successful in a level with other developed, well-developed countries. But not only that I will be from this party and you are from that party, then we will have a fight. we see in some countries, even bigger countries, that they are only two parties. And I can mention, like in UK, there are only two parties, you see, or even now it's like 4 parties now, but mainly two: the Conservative, the Tories, or the Labours. In addition to SNP, Scottish National Party, or even the UKIP, okay, for what is his name, Nigel Farage. So those, you see, those nations, only two parties. Or even in United States, two parties, Republican and Democratic. Sometimes the availability of several parties, people, they will describe it as a democracy. Yes, it is part of democracy. But at the same time, it is against democracy if those parties, they don't have a unified goal to build a country. If they don't have that, so this means these parties, instead of building a country to go forward, they will destroy this country. They will destroy a country if those parties, they don't have a unified goal to build a country. Yes, it is not a problem that each party will have their own strategies, their own agenda, their own methods, their own values that they believe in. That is not a problem at all. But the problem is that these parties, they should have a unified goal toward building a country. What is supposed to be. That is what is supposed to be. So for me, if I have been asked, what is your own opinion about this, I will say, those several parties, how many are they? 100, 150, 200. They're supposed to have a big conference. And each party has to have, a delegate that to see what are the similarities between those parties. What are the similarities between those parties so that they can have kind of a union. You see? So by that way, we will have minimum number of those parties. And people have to understand this. If we are really looking for developing a country, we shouldn't fight each other as a parties at all. Because there is a sacred value over there, which is patriotism. Building a country and building a nation. So, really, as I said about violence, we need to have a way of using our own minds always. Not only to be some people whom are really very sensitive, oversensitive, over emotional. But we have to learn how to use this mind. And through the dialogue, you see, even sometimes people, they will have kind of differences. But these differences, if they address it and they communicate, easily they can reach to one understanding. And that is what is supposed to happen with the people. So we have to think of that, and also, as I said, to look for persuasion, okay? and to convince others through the dialogue and communication, and at the same time not to use the violence, the way of frightening or threatening others, okay? And instead of that, just only to use our own minds, the dialogue, so that we can reach an approach to something that all we can agree on. You see, people always have to think about what brings them together, not about the differences. And that is the positive thinking. Even if I'm proud of me belonging to this society, to this group, to this tribe, to this sect, this kind of feeling, it is for belonging only, but not that I'm better, or I'm good, and the other person is bad, or other part is bad. No, it is a matter of choice. A matter of choice. And that is what is called the diversity, where people need to respect diversity. Because we know very well some nations nowadays, they look for diversities. They are building nations by diversities. You see, like now those Western countries, we see yearly how many refugees they are going there, how many brain drain. You see, some of the best minds, they are just traveling and immigrate to live there. Why for? Because somebody is respecting the diversity and using this diversity in order to make something as a creativity. You see? So that is what we need to think about too. To respect each other, to love each other, and this kind of thing, it will start from us. As I'm always saying, that be the good person, that whoever will see you will say, oh, life is still good. You see? Or even as Mahatma Gandhi is saying, be the change you want to see in the world. That means a very good role model, so that other people, they can follow you. That is why using our own mentality, it is what will make difference in our own life. Not only that we will use violence. No. We want now, we know that the world, since the Second World War, there was a Cold War. A Cold War is a shift. Okay? A Cold War is a shift. In addition to what is called now, and it's a very well-known term, especially those politicians, those who are into politics, they know it very well. It's called the soft power. The soft power. How you will use your mind in order to achieve things. Big business deals. Okay? And big interests. How you achieve all that and be successful only through the soft power. And we saw even like some nations, they were in a fight, a big war. But at last, this war, when it ended only by a negotiation of peace and dialogue, not only something else. And that is what we're supposed to think about. So, at last I will say, really, at last I will say is that, as a conclusion, violence is not good. We have to think always about our own mentality we don't need to hit our own children and even to hit our own wives or even sisters and so on. We don't need to hit them. The only way we need to behave with children and wives or women or so on is only to have kind of dialogue. And if you don't like someone, you can easily communicate and let it go. You see? Instead of you just being with somebody that always giving you a hard time or giving her a hard time. And that is, as I said, because is that from the beginning they were forced in order to be together in this union, which is really very wrong. So now it is time to change our own mind. It is time to change our own self and being a very good role model and to be as a mentor with the people around us in order to stop violence and in order to have a different approach to life. That is what we have about violence. And now, as I said, the knowledge is really available everywhere. You can check Google or YouTube. You will find so many informations in regard of violence, and the violence against women, the violence against children. Okay, so we have to create kind of a stable life and aim for peaceful, tolerant, loving societies and communities, and that it will only come through our own understanding to life itself. And me and you are responsible of making that change in our own societies. I do thank you all really for listening to me and watching this live talk in regard of violence. And if there is any question or even somebody has a comment, I'm there for some time in order to respond. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If any question or even if any comment in regard of violence, I'm there. Any questions? We talked really maybe for almost an hour now. Almost an hour in regard of violence. So if anyone he has something, I'm there in order to answer. Most welcome, my dear. Most welcome, my dear. You are one of the best leaders, future leaders, and I see that in you really, my dear. May God bless you, and may you will be one of those very well known in the society and in the whole world in order to make change and help people to grow. Because as far as I can see that really, my dear Sadiq, that you are using your time wisely and going through those things and share those things which will benefit you and other people and help them in order to grow mentally and to have and to reach that level of awareness which will make them responsible enough about themselves and about their own societies and about their own countries and even international arena, their own issues, the issues that concern the whole world. So may God bless you. May God bless you, my dear. Yes, we have concluded a talk about violence, and I'm there, to answer you and to answer all the questions. Sorry. Any question there? More 2 minutes. In case any question, so that I could answer. And within this week also, I'm going to select other topics that I can share with people, especially some topics that we really need them, things that we need to address in our societies. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being around. Thank you so much for your own time. I do appreciate, really. I do appreciate you passing by and listening to me and giving me your own time. Time is precious, so I do appreciate it. And I'm really happy for that. May God bless you all. May God bless you all. I'm there. Yes, I'm there. If any question, any comment regarding violence, the family violence, children violence, women violence, and even men violence, all is possible and is happening. So we have to be peaceful. At least let us try to be peaceful and stop that violence we use from time to time. And stop the violence we are using from time to time. Yes, new joiners, welcome. New joiners, welcome. Welcome here. Yes, more 2 minutes in regard of if any question or any comment regarding violence, so that I can answer live. One more minute. I do thank you, really. Thank you so much. Life is precious. Life, it has a meaning. And we do need really to have a great life, and a great life will come through using our own minds and learn how to communicate and have dialogue, and especially with children, and to address their own issues without always using violence and frightening them. That is what we're supposed to do in our life. That is what we're supposed to do in our life. And from today, I do pray, really, and I hope that all people, they can be a very good example for peace, love, tolerance, respect, and go against all the oaths of life, and at least to think about the traditions, and not only to inherit things, okay, and the manners in order to teach other people. Alaikum salam, my dear brother Zain. May God bless you. May God bless you. We were here today talking about violence. I spoke about violence, the family violence, maybe now for 1 hour and a half. And we are almost concluding We are in the finishing now. I'm there. It's only to comment and answer some questions if people have about violence, the family violence, and the most dangerous violence that we have and see always is the violence against women. And as I said, some people that are using this authority they have very badly against those beautiful, weak creatures. Thank you for being here, dear brother. I do appreciate it. Almost finished now. Once again, I do thank you really for being here and giving me your time. I do thank you for that. And may God bless you until we meet within the next life within this week. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Hasta luego. Hasta mañana. This is Spanish. Bye bye. Goodbye. Ma'as salama. Thank you so much.